Okay, recording this video on Saturday, the 23rd of April 2022. Just gone 10:52 p.m. Chicago time. It is 5:52 in the afternoon here in Hawaii. Do hope you are doing well. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. So this video, we're really going to delve into the big short trade because that came good this week. Going to talk about where that might go. And then once I've done that, going to talk about Japanese yen, the euro, bonds, gold and silver, and see if we can see some other kind of patterns and what might be lining up. But before getting onto those charts, just to say I got an update on my TradeStation, and now by default it has added this kind of pointer tracking business on my charts. I do not like it, and you might be a TradeStation user and don't like it too, and I'll just show you how to switch it off because it's not obvious. Anyway, so right click on a chart, go to settings and then preferences down at the bottom, and tick this box here where it says display crosshair lines with down click only, and then click OK. You can see it's gone away, and when we just press down, click down on the pointer, that's when that pointer tracking kind of switches on. So there we go, turning off some kind of default that they've put into TradeStation that was unnecessary. Anyway, so let's talk about this trade. We're short the E-mini from 44.8650 as of 2 weeks ago. That was the open on the Sunday 2 weeks ago. And the first week we were kind of down about 100 points. Then we had a nasty retrace this week, took a little bit of heat on this trade, and then Thursday, Friday, bang, this thing went good. And we're 200 points up at the moment. The stop was sitting up here at 46.28, kind of just above the high of that little retracement. And the notional target was sitting at 4,000, but I'm going to talk about what we should be thinking about in terms of a target. And this was a retracement pattern that I call an under the lip trade. So we've broken below better pro-am, the kind of trailing stop here based on professional activity here. That's and we flipped into this white line, having had a trailing red stop line underneath the blue professional bars. We flipped the other way and we kind of sold off hard. It was actually a triple signal on this daily chart, continuous contract day and night, having had all three indicators come together. So we had exhaustion by bearish divergence, so that's our volume and momentum kind of maxes out. Then we are overbought on better sine wave. We've been overbought for weeks and weeks, months and months on better sine wave. But then we did break the blue professional bars, and that was absolutely key here. So we kind of broke into the downtrend. We came back up, and that signal, the under the lip, is when we're under the trailing stop of the professional bars, and we have resistance in the intermediate time frame on better sine wave. So I can just show you that here on this daily chart here, and that was the intermediate time frame. It was actually a pullback to end of trend signal there. So when that went off, we should be looking for short trades, and we got a nice little kind of punch down this week on Thursday, Friday. So now this is looking more like these blue professional bars here, kind of catching the low, kind of pushing up, looking more like a little bit of a kind of a killing fields pattern. It's much more pronounced on the NASDAQ, and I actually might show you that. Here we go. We have our sell-off, and then we push back up. Blue professional bars catch the lows, force it all the way up. And that for me is kind of killing fields. Once we break this 12,555 level, all the professionals have done have kind of moved the market up and then used all of this activity to kind of get out and go short. Sometimes on killing fields trade, they have more movement backwards and forwards, but Thursdays and Fridays activity was so kind of pronounced down. I think we're just going to slice through this in the next day or two, hopefully, and kind of get this move going properly. But anyway, so if that's kind of a killing fields, these professional blue bars here were just kind of catching the market and using that activity to kind of get out. This is exhaustion selling, getting the move going. And so what we need to see at the end of this is those two things again. We need to see exhaustion selling further down, and we need to see more blue professional kind of down bars, because these have not been held. The lows of those are not going to be held, and we're going to kind of push through here. So I think this might go somewhere. I think the little retraces that we've had in the last X number of years, 10% we just bounced straight on off a 10% down move, 20% down we seem to bounce off those kind of pretty easily. So let's see if we really get kind of a melting away of confidence. There's certainly some major names. A lot of the movement up in the indices has been driven by a very small number of names, and out of the fangs, we have Facebook, Meta, and Netflix both kind of collapsing in terms of their overall business picture and so on. So anyway, let us see. Daily chart here, this is what happened on Friday's activity. So this had been a long time in the making. We'd been in a serious uptrend on the S&P 500, and we finally put in our pullback to end of trend. And now with Friday's activity, we've broken support, and that's the first kind of downtrend that we've had in a long while since the COVID kind of sell-off. So there we go. So on this chart, we've got to go resistance to support at least, and then we'll have a cross on the highest time frame and maybe put in a final move up on the daily chart, pull back to end of trend on this highest time frame. Dropping it down to the 135-minute chart, there's the end of trend. Here we're kind of coming down, and we're breaking support on the intermediate time frame. So that should go to a pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame, and we've got this resistance to play out to support kind of going down here. On the 45-minute chart, we've broken support on that highest time frame there. So let's see if we go make a pullback to end of trend on that time frame. And the 15-minute chart, we might get a little bit of a bounce when these kind of cross together, but we're so far below the support on the 15-minute chart, the lowest time frame there. That's got to make pullback to end of trend. And if you look at these patterns, we were looking at this kind of last time on this video. We were talking about getting the move going and then ending the move. Was that enough? Well, it ended it temporarily here. We got a flush pattern, and that was the nasty retrace that we got at the beginning of this last week. Now this exhaustion sell is kind of getting this move going, so we've got to see another one of those readings kind of on the way down. So Monday's going to be interesting because a lot of things are they're giving way with this support gone on the daily chart. All of a sudden, it's clear what the trend is going to be for the next days and weeks potentially. Anyway, so that's the Emini trade. So the trick is to hold on to this thing until it makes that exhaustion sell, and blue professional bars kind of come in at the lows where that next level is. We don't know that. Anyway, are we starting to see some of the other markets that you would typically see kind of turn around when we have a sell-off in equities start to move? One of them is the Japanese yen. So on Japanese yen, typically what we see is reversal of the carry trade. So everybody's kind of taking losses, forced to repatriate funds, and the funding currency in the Japanese yen is kind of starts to strengthen. That would suit the Japanese kind of finance ministry, central bank, government, or whatever, because the sell-off in the Japanese yen has been just epic over the last couple of months or so. But we're starting to see some signs of strength coming in on the Japanese yen. So this is a two-window view, just using the overbought, oversold kind of system. 900 tip bar chart, 2700 tip bar chart. That is 3 times this. So this is getting into the detail, and then this is showing a little bit bigger picture. I never touch reversal trades until we see blue professional bars in the higher time frame. So we've got the start of that over the last couple of days, 3 or 4 days. Blue professional bars coming in here with exhaustion sell, more blue professional bars. Let me just pump this up and show you, whoops, this chart. So blue professional bars coming at lows, getting interested as we test down into 77.5, and we're starting to see patterns with triple signals kind of going off. So any break above that kind of congestion zone would show that that's kind of potentially on the way. We've got background oversold on better sine wave on the lower time frame there. We've got blue professional bars kind of came in at the lows and they held it. So getting into this kind of 78 business here would be really interested if we get that, and that will show the strength in the Japanese yen will show that there is a reversal of the carry trade. Now the euro is also one of these carry funding kind of currencies too, as of the last 10 years or so, because the European Central Bank has put rates so low. So people are kind of borrowing in euros and buying either US equities or bonds, or if you got the stomach for it, emerging market equities and bonds. Now, so has this started to show? We definitely have a signal here on the 4500 tip bar chart. So again, 1500 and 4500 tip bar charts, the settings I like on the Euro chart here. We did have a signal a few days ago, but there are not a lot of blue professional bars coming in on this highest time frame. There's a couple here. So, if we have a reversal here, it needs to get above those blue professional bars, and we'd have to see, I'd suggest, a couple more blue professional bars than just those to show what's really kind of going on. We did have some signals here, but it kind of gave way once we got overbought on better sine wave kind of coming back in. So not a lot of blue professional bars yet on the euro. And you contrast that with the blue professional bars that we had on the yen over the last 3 days. It's like 4 days, a whole bunch coming in here and here and here, and we don't have a similar thing happening in the euro. Bonds, same thing again, even less activity with blue professional bars kind of down here. Again, bonds in a massive downtrend at the moment. But you'd expect at some point, with an equity sell-off, you'd see the bonds kind of starting to strengthen too, potentially. But nothing there, and our stop is miles away on this higher time frame here. So this is a 9,000 tip bar chart as the higher kind of time frame for swing trading versus a 3,000 tip bar chart. So nothing here. It is oversold. We've got some exhaustion patterns and so on, but no blue professional bars. So be interested to see if we get those. And we've just had a few on this lower time frame. So nothing there. And then lastly, talk about gold and silver, because I had those in the video last weekend, and I was saying that we were going to get some strength in both gold and silver based on this little pattern that I'd seen, where we had a stair-step trade. Blue professional bars on a little bit of weakness, kind of step in, and yes, we had a bit of a punch up for a day. That's all it lasted, to exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, and then we kind of sold off, and we had a whole cluster of blue professional bars kind of come in here. Exhaustion sell, kind of getting this move going into a downtrend. So they changed their mind there at 1950, 1960, kind of around there. At that point, the blue professional bars started to get out, and we're kind of on our way down. So going to see weakness in gold. And silver, same thing. So again, about the weekend on the 16th, 17th, we got one decent day of activity on this push up, and then we broke in. We were overbought, broke into a downtrend, and again, whole cluster at 15 and 25, 40-ish blue professional bars there and there kind of come in, and they're deciding to get out, and the thing just gives way after that. So pity on those two trades that didn't work out, but people talk about rush to safety, gold and silver, when there's kind of panic in the market, and that's not necessarily so. There's more kind of a rush into gold and silver when there's political panic rather than kind of market panic. So I wouldn't necessarily see gold and silver starting to rally if we really get an equity sell-off. But this is the trade to be on at the moment and watching to see where this goes, whether this is just a little bit of another kind of push down on equities and we recover and go back up, or this is becomes far more serious than that. Anyway, so there we go, a little bit of a video for the weekend. Good luck with your trading next week.